Now, since I know you watched my video I did a couple of weeks ago with the MySoil Test Kit, we're now going to take those test results and we're going to compare them with my local university extension office, which here happens to be Clemson University, since I'm in South Carolina. We're going to see which one of those gives me more information and which one seems to be more accurate. Hopefully they both come back great and they tell me to amend the soil the same way. If that's the case, everybody wins. But if not, then we have a problem and I have to figure out which one's going to be more accurate. Hopefully they both go in depth with not only what my soil has going on, but also how best to treat my soil. So I finally got both my soil sample tests back. I got the MySoil test, which I ordered online for about 25-ish bucks or so, mailed it in and they sent the results back. Most of those show that I was low and I needed quite a bit of nutrients in my grass. And I also got the sample back from my local university extension office, which here happens to be Clemson. Those results came back as well, and we're gonna look at the difference between these two tests right now and see how they vary, if they vary at all. So to give you a quick recap on the MySoil test results, those all came back pretty low. It's showing that my pH is a little on the alkaline side. I need to add some sulfur to the soil. It's also showing my macronutrients, which are the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, the NPK, all three of those to be low, as well as all the micronutrients, which is the manganese, boron, and zinc, to all be low. In fact, the only thing it showed that was sufficient was the levels of sodium in my soil. Again, like I said in my previous video, that seems a little odd because I know in this area we've got really high phosphorus and phosphate levels in the soil, so I was a little shocked to see that. Now to getting into my local university extension office from Clemson, what's weird is that it showed my soil pH to be a little acidic actually, just below that 7 region, which is right where the middle of the pH is balanced at, and so therefore I'd probably need to add a little bit of lime to it. Remember, the MySoil test showed it to be alkaline and requiring sulfur. Now I know for zoysia grass the ideal pH is right around about a 6.7 or so, so I'm kind of right in the ballpark according to the Clemson soil test I did from the extension office. Now for the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium levels, the NPK, they don't even measure the nitrogen levels. And when I asked them, they said it varies so much day to day that it's not really worth it. If I was a golf course or something like that, it may be worthwhile to do a nitrate nitrogen test. But for a residential lawn, it's not that big of a deal because it's going to fluctuate so much, especially depending on when you last put down fertilizer that had nitrogen in it. Now here's where it starts to get really interesting on the macronutrient side. So the Clemson University Extension Office says that my phosphorus levels are excessive, not optimum, excessive, which is very much what I expected because I know that the soil around here, again, has really high phosphorus and phosphate levels. The MySoil test showed that the phosphorus levels in my soil were low. Now for the potassium levels, the Clemson test showed that my soil levels were really low, not even close to the optimum range. Now for the micronutrients, remember that's going to be the zinc, manganese, and boron, both tests showed my zinc levels to be low. But the Clemson Extension Office test showed my manganese and boron levels to be optimum, so that varies quite a bit between the two tests. Now the Clemson Extension Office also goes and measures the Cation exchange capacity, the CEC. And what that deals with is basically plant nutrients are positively charged. The organic matter in clay has a negative charge, and that's going to measure the ability for your soil to soak up and absorb those plant nutrients. Now I've got a CEC, Cation exchange capacity, of an 8.4 milliequivalents for every 100 grams of soil. There is no specific set number for what you're looking for with CEC, but generally the higher the better. When I asked Clemson about it, they said the ideal range is going to be somewhere about the 12 to 15 milliequivalents for every 100 grams of soil. So I'm a little below that. Now they say the best way to go ahead and try to increase my CEC in my soil is by aerating the soil first and then top dressing it with some compost, and that should help it out and raise up those levels. Again, there is no set ideal, but somewhere in that 12 to 15 milliequivalents according to this area is going to be the ideal range. Now Clemson gave some fertilizer recommendations, and what they say is May 1st I should go ahead and broadcast 6 pounds of 15-0-15 per 1,000 square feet of lawn. And then they say to come back in July and broadcast another 6 pounds of 16-4-8 per 1,000 square feet of lawn. Now I had a question about that, so I emailed them. They responded back within an hour. My main question to them about that comment was, hey, you tell me on May 1st to put 16 pounds of 15-0-15 per 1,000 square feet, and then in July you tell me to put down 6 pounds of 16-4-8, but you also say that I have excessive phosphorus levels. So if I put down 16-4-8, that's just going to contribute to my phosphorus problem. Their response was very simple and makes sense. That's a very minor amount of phosphorus with only 4% of the bag being made up of phosphorus, but if it makes me more comfortable, go ahead and apply a second dosage of that 15-0-15 so that I don't contribute to any additional phosphorus in the soil. Now, if you notice at the top of the test, you see I've got a soil code of 3. I asked them, hey, what is that? What does a soil code of 3 mean? They said a soil code of 3 means I've got fine, loamy soil. And where I am, the depth of the clay is less than 20 inches deep. Now, I also went ahead and took the time just to double check exactly which zone I'm in. You can find that out online, But I just asked him, since they're the experts, and they said, hey, I'm in zone 9 alpha. And then they showed me this great website, which I'll put up on the screen. And it's also going to be in the comments down below. So you can go there and check out exactly which zone you're in. Now, they did also go and tell me that the amount of growth of the lawn can be controlled by the amount of nitrogen. That makes sense. They said if I want to maintain a low maintenance yard, then I should be putting down about 1 to 2 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet per year. And if I want to maintain a high maintenance lawn, then I need to be putting down about 3 to 5 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet per year. They also go on to mention that if I remove the grass clippings when I mow my lawn, then I need to up how much fertilizer I put down by 25% to account for those grass clippings getting pulled off the lawn. Now, I also wanted to ask them, what's the difference between a low maintenance lawn and a high maintenance lawn? And they came back and said, hey, these fertilizer recommendations we provide you are going to be right in the mid-range, and that's going to provide you a nice healthy lawn. If I want to keep it low maintenance, then just do those recommendations, provide that 1 to 2 pounds of nitrogen per year, and the lawn should be doing well. If I want to keep it high maintenance, then I'm going to be looking at that 3 to 5 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet per year. That's also going to make the lawn lusher and more attractive to disease and insects, which is going to require more maintenance. Therefore, they call it a high maintenance lawn. So basically, it's a self-licking ice cream cone. The more you take care of the lawn, the healthier it should be, the more lush it should be, the more attractive, susceptible, and ripe for insects and disease to come and take up home in your lawn. So all in all, both soil tests weren't difficult to collect. They were very easy to mail in or drop off, and neither one was that expensive. The MySoil test was about $25-ish or so online, and the local extension office was $6. So clearly this is the winner in the cost game. Now, as far as time to get the results back, this one was about 4 or 5 days or so, and the Clemson one was just over a week or so. Not a big deal. Now, as far as how the results vary, remember the MySoil test showed that my soil was alkaline and needed sulfur. Clemson showed it to be slightly closer to the acidic side and could probably benefit from a little bit of lime. But where they really differed is on the macronutrients, the N, P, and K, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, where the MySoil test showed that I was low on all of those, where the Clemson extension office showed that I was excessive on the phosphorus and low on the potassium. And remember, they don't test the nitrogen because they say it's basically a useless test. It's just simply a random snapshot in time on that particular day. And the other difference was in the micronutrients. My soil test said that I was low on all 3 of the main micronutrients, manganese, boron, and zinc. Clemson Extension Office showed that my manganese and boron levels were sufficient and in the optimum range, but my zinc levels were just a little low. I think I'm going to go with the Clemson results and trust those and use their fertilizer recommendations for the next year or so. And I'll probably do another soil test next fall. I've just seemed a little skeptical of the fact that these were showing, especially my phosphorus levels, to be low when I know that the soil in this area has really high phosphorus levels. I don't know if this is the case, but the MySoil test does take you directly to links to sell fertilizer, and it could be simply that they want to show you your levels to be a little lower than normal so that they can sell more fertilizer. They obviously make money off of selling you the test, but I'm sure they get a little bit of money from selling fertilizer when people click on links through their fertilizer as well. Obviously, the Clemson office has no sort of affiliation with any sort of the marketing or fertilizer industry, so I don't think that to be the case. Again, I have no idea if that's actually the case, but it could be a possible theory as to why the tests vary so widely and why the MySoil test showed a lot of my levels to be low, when in fact I know that the phosphorus levels in this area are high. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I definitely learned a lot by doing these 2 tests and comparing the results. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my other videos. See ya.